Today I am going to be talking about navigating the freelance roller coaster, understanding the anxiety of unpredictable work. It's been a couple of weeks here at Notes from Post since I was able to sit and actually write. I kind of let my anxious thoughts run away with me as I find myself without work once again. I'm thinking about all the freelancers in my industry that have been struggling for the past year with the strikes from last year and additional potential strikes this year. We are all in a very tough holding pattern. Freelancing has been a huge part of the film and TV industry. In fact, freelancers make up the majority of the workforce in the industry. Now it has grown to become a significant part of the U.S. workforce, too, steadily expanding over the past few years in large part due to the pandemic, prompting a surge in freelancing fueled by a growing desire for flexibility and autonomy in work arrangements. This phenomenon, also dubbed the Great Resignation, has resulted in a substantial increase in freelancers nationwide. Parents were being told they had to be their kids' at-home teacher, adhere to a full-time school schedule, plus keep bills paid and food on plates. Going freelance was often the best option available. However, beneath the surface of the decision lies a complex reality that many freelancers grapple with daily. The uncertainty of when the next job will come, how to have adequate health care without the benefits from a full-time job, and how to keep progression in your career moving forward. This unpredictability not only poses financial challenges, but also takes a toll on mental well-being, leading to anxiety and stress. With someone who already struggles with the runaway train thought, this isn't the best combination. But honestly, I've realized that I'll find something to stress myself out about no matter where I work, if I have benefits or not. So I don't let that get in the way of having the career that I want. In this article, I'm going to share some of the things that I've been just thinking about the past couple of weeks as I'm in the in-between zone of jobs. Navigating the freelance roller coaster. Okay, so let me start by sharing something I recently learned. The term freelance comes from the Sir Walter Scott book, Ivanhoe. Scott wrote about a lord who referred to his paid army as freelances. In those days, the term was used in referring to a mercenary who would fight for whoever paid them the most. And so I just thought that was a very cool little, nod to freelancers. I think this leads to a common misconception, though, where the majority of people think we could choose to work for corporations or companies, but instead we go freelance because we're greedy or want to get paid more. Truthfully, in the film and television industry, the majority of us have always been freelance because the work is so sporadic. Shows have seasons where they come and go, and the majority of production companies don't hire full-time. We don't have many other options. As a freelancer, I often find myself in a constant cycle of hustling for the next gig. Unlike traditional employees with a more stable salary with benefits, and even then the job here in general is not really stable anymore. Anyone can lose their job at any time. As a freelancer, contracts can end abruptly, or you quote unquote get wrapped early, leaving us scrambling to secure the next gig. Not much work is actually happening right now in the industry, and the work that is happening is being filled before the majority of us even know that it's available. In an industry where who is money, the struggle to break in to get your next gig over and over again is super overwhelming. Shows can and do get canceled or put on hiatus unexpectedly, leaving freelancers without any income. I'm not even going to bring up what retirement looks like, since there's little dependability of when the next gig will come and savings goes into a fund for when I'm out of work the next time versus into my retirement. Not to mention just getting paid. If you speak to anyone who has worked freelance, I'd bet a majority of them would say at one time or another they have had issues getting paid or a delay in pay, making it really hard to plan financially. Not only do we have the weight of trying to line up our next gig, when we are working, we also have to worry about if we'll get paid on time, if at all, and have to be our own advocates. This can be especially hard for introverts or people like me who hate conflict. So I have had jobs where I've just walked away and not gotten paid because I haven't wanted to fight that battle. Yeah. Okay. So the first tip to survive is plan for being out of work. I usually take a percentage of my paycheck and save it for the months when I don't have income. Most people will tell you to save anywhere from 3 to 6 months. This helps to not be desperate, which never helps in finding a gig because people can really sense that. It also allows you time to say no to gigs that you'd rather not do and gives you the opportunity to look for a role that you can grow in, if that's what you're looking for, if that's what you want. Downtime. The industry is brutal. In order to survive, many people take downtime to recoup. During my downtime, I'm working on this newsletter and my podcast. I'm working on some personal projects I haven't had time to touch for a while, and I'm planning some projects in my house that have been on hold, like painting my living room. But honestly, the downtime is used to rebuild relationships that went neglected, focus on self-care, and get back into a good mental state. Working on series television can be really mentally taxing. This past job, I was lucky enough to build into the post schedule a down week for Christmas, but this was the first job I was able to do that. Even with that, though, there were some weeks where I mentally was just pushed to complete exhaustion. Having to balance multiple episodes at different stages of the process and putting out multiple fires as we get closer to delivery, and the need to get all of the things wrapped up and done by looming deadlines can leave you a little bit crazy. Basically, because of this, taking time between jobs can be necessary, even if it's difficult financially. So I try really hard to plan for that. So my second tip to surviving freelance is to use your downtime wisely. Plan for it, be your own manager, outline what you want to do or what you would like to get done during your time off, and plan time to do it. Then let yourself off the hook. Don't worry about getting it all done, but you'll feel much more productive and less depressed at the end of it if you were able to focus on some things that make your personal relationships or your space a priority. How to keep progressing in your career. Another very difficult thing with freelancing is there is no clear progression. I talk about the way into post-production in the second episode of my podcast and the non-traditional ways to get into the role. But to take the conversation further, once you're in a role and you've proven yourself, the industry has a hard time seeing you as anything else. When you wrap, you're starting from square one, reaching out to people you've worked with in the past who've only known you in a certain role, so they only feel comfortable recommending you as one thing, which makes progressing super tough. Credits are everything, no matter how unfair that seems. Many people do not fully understand everyone's role in the industry and rely on what credits people have received on shows. The bigger the show, the better. So it doesn't actually matter if you've done a good job or not, but if you have a credit on a major series or film, that's taken as gold. Combined with how many of us work from home now means it's so much harder to connect with people and build those connections that will recommend us for the next gig or be willing to help us be pushed into the next step upwards. First, just do your best. Be good at solving conflict and learn to communicate clearly. Even if you're not on what is considered A-list shows, being the best at what you do will get you noticed. I love the book Creativity Inc. by Ed Catmull. He speaks widely on his experience of leading upwards as well as being a good leader for those under him. If you have the time to read it this summer, I highly recommend it. My biggest takeaway was be a safe person. Don't be quick to judge. Allow people who've made mistakes the space to come and admit the mistakes, then focus on the solve, not who made the mistake. This is an issue I see over and over. Too many business leaders are focused on the mistake and who caused it versus a solution-oriented approach. And this alone will help you be seen as someone who can be easily spoken to. People will be much more honest about what it takes to do their jobs, and you in turn will be a much more effective leader. Another communication tool I use a lot as a work from home freelancer is Slack, and I can hear everyone like screeching. Well, yes, it can also be torturous. And some people have PTSD from hearing the little bling sound. However, the ability to quickly chat with someone and check in helps to build meaningful connection. When I talk about connection, this is what I mean, not what can you give me from this interaction, but what can I provide? For me, that's a sounding board. I work hard to be a safe space for people to vent and work frustrations. Then we can move on together. They know I have their back. That's how I contribute to the connections that I make. My last tip for surviving freelance work is to never stop having conversations. Attend the mixers, the monthly meetups, and return the calls you've not had time to. Add one day a month where you reach out to friends, like put it on your schedule, make sure you get reminders for it. Reach out to friends, family, past coworkers who you haven't talked to in a while. I truly care about connection that transcends just what I can get out of it. For me, it's always genuine. I care to hear about what is going on in other people's lives. I like to send birthday cards to colleagues and friends. Some people may think that's weird. Even just a handwritten thank you note is a fantastic way to stand out. Everybody hates emails. So when you can, and if you're able to write people notes, it's really appreciated. Of course, asking for their addresses can be a little less awkward if you've built a good professional relationship. I'll usually ask for an address when I'm working with someone and then store it in my phone. And at some point, if I notice it's someone's birthday or if they've just completed a big project, I'll send them a handwritten note just congratulating them. Sometimes I'll even find some incredible friends along the way. All in all, freelancing offers a lot of benefits, but it also comes with its fair share of challenges. It's really just a different form of working. I've done both a full-time with benefits and freelance roles during my career, and I've noticed that there's plenty to worry about in both. So if you're tired of one, try giving the other a chance. Freelance isn't that scary once you're able to set aside some of the unknowns about it. The uncertainty of when the next job will come can take a toll on freelancers' mental health, but by acknowledging these difficulties and implementing strategies to cope with the uncertainty, freelancers can navigate the ups and the downs of the freelance roller coaster more effectively. Thanks for listening. Until next time, this is Shawna Carroll.